Hello class 8 students, welcome back to the science class. Today we are going to start chapter 8 of your science textbook which is reproduction in animals. इस chapter में हम animals के reproduction process के बारे में ठीक से जानेंगे. Chapter at a glance: reproduction, male reproductive system, methods of birth control, growing up, nutritional need of the adolescent, types of reproduction in animals, female reproductive system, asexual reproduction, X and Y chromosomes, coordination of response in plants. Engage. All living organisms produce young ones of their own kind. Some of them lay eggs while some give birth to young ones or babies. Look at the following picture and identify which animal lay eggs and which give birth to the babies. इन पिक्चर को देखकर पहचानना है कि इनमें से कौन सा एनिमल एग ले करता है और कौन सा एनिमल डायरेक्टली अपने यंग वंस प्रोड्यूस करता है. रिप्रोडक्शन. All living organisms grow, multiply and produce their own kind by the process of reproduction. All living organisms live for a certain period of time. Some live longer than others. But in the end, all living organisms die. In order for any species to continue, it must produce young ones of its own kind. तो रिप्रोडक्शन एक प्रोसेस है जिसमें सभी एनिमल स्पीशीज या कोई भी लिविंग बीइंग्स अपने टाइप के यंग वंस को प्रोड्यूस करते हैं. क्योंकि एक दिन हर कोई मरता है, तो अगर उनकी स्पीशीज को कंटिन्यू करना है, उनकी स्पीशीज को आगे बढ़ाना है, तो उनके यंग वंस का बर्थ जरूरी है. तो रिप्रोडक्शन की प्रोसेस से वो होता है. Reproduction is a basic life process by which a living organism produces a new individual by using its own body material. The offspring or new individual resembles its parent in all the basic features. Reproduction helps in the continuity of life, increasing the population of any species, the evolution of the most favorable variations over a period of time. Reproduction is essential for the existence of any species. In the absence of it, a species would become extinct. Types of reproduction in animals. Animals में किस तरीके का reproduction हो सकता है, कितने type का? All the ways in which living organisms give birth to their young ones can be divided into the following two methods. First, sexual reproduction. Second, asexual reproduction. Sexual reproduction is a common mode of reproduction in both plants and animals. In this image, we can see a sexual reproduction. Although the principle involved is the same, yet the mechanism involved in plant and animal reproduction is different. The general principle is the formation of sex cells, the fusion of sex cells to form zygote, followed by the development of the zygote into an embryo from which young offspring develops. Reproduction in human beings. The human beings, like other higher animals, show sexual dimorphism. That is, the male and female reproductive organs are present in separate individuals. The process of fertilization results in the formation of zygote and its development until childbirth occurs in the body of the female. A baby after its birth undergoes the various stages of development. The development stages include childhood up to an age of 11 to 15 years, followed by puberty and eventually the stage of adulthood. In this image, you can see the stages of development in human child. Male reproductive system. The male reproductive organs include a pair of testes located outside the abdominal cavity in a sac called scrotal sac. The male gametes, that is, the sperms, are produced in large number in testes. They are stored in epididymis, the sperm duct called vas deferens originating from each testes carries the sperm to urethra in the penis. In this picture, you can see male reproductive system. The penis has erectile tissue and is responsible for transferring the sperms into vagina of the female. In sperm duct, three different glands pour their secretions to neutralize the acidity of urine in urethra and also provide a medium for the sperms to swim. The mixture of the fluid secreted from different glands and sperms together is called semen. Female reproductive system. The female reproductive system is more complex than the male reproductive system because both the fertilization of ovum by the sperm and the development of the embryo occurs in the female. The female reproductive organs include a pair of ovaries, that are located in the lower abdominal cavity. In this picture, you can see a female reproductive system with all its parts. After a female reaches puberty, the ovary starts producing the ovum. The ovum produced is brought to uterus by oviduct, fallopian tube. However, the fertilization occurs only in the fallopian tube. If the ovum is fertilized, then the zygote formed reaches the uterus. The uterus is a muscular organ where the development of embryo occurs till childbirth. The gestation period in human beings is 9 months. If the ovum fails to get fertilized by the sperm, it becomes dead after a certain period of time. The dead ovum is then expelled from the uterus along with some uterine tissue. The process of expulsion of dead ovum with uterine tissue is called menstruation. It occurs every month in female after the onset of puberty up to an age of 45 years or so. The fertilization can be internal or external. The fertilization is internal when it takes place inside the body of a female, example in birds and human beings. If the fertilization occurs outside the female's body, like in frog and fish, it is called external fertilization. The scientist, while trying to understand the concept of external fertilization, came up with the successful idea of in vitro fertilization. In vitro technique of fertilization is of great help to those mothers who fail to reproduce because of blocked fallopian tubes that prevents the fusion of sperm with the ovum and zygote formation does not take place. In such females, the fertilization is carried out in vitro, that is outside their body in glass test tube. In this process, the doctor collects the freshly ovulated ova from the female and the semen from the male. The sperms are made to fertilize the ovum in the test tube at a suitable temperature. When the embryo becomes a week old, it is transplanted successfully in the uterus and the mother then has the normal pregnancy and gives birth to a normal child. The babies so born are called test tube babies. In animals such as cows and elephants and human beings, only a single ovum is produced at a time. But in some animals like cats and dogs, more than one ovum is produced at a time. Therefore, they generally produce more than one offspring at a time. Development in organism. The development of an organism involves growth and differentiation of the dividing cells. In this image, we can see a development of a human child before birth from first month to 9 months. The cell differentiation means the specialization and organization of cells to carry out the specific metabolic functions and impairing shape to the body. All multicellular organisms after fertilization begin their life from a single cell, that is the zygote. The zygote formed undergoes repeated cell division to form embryo. The newly formed cells in an embryo starts differentiate into muscle cells and other ones. For example, some cells differentiate into muscle cells and other into neurons. It is from these differentiated cells that tissues, organs, organ system and an organism as a whole develops. The sex of an individual is determined at the time of fertilization on the basis of the male gamete that fuses with the female gamete. Scientifically, the sex of a child is determined by the father. It is wrong belief that the mother determines the sex of the child. However, the fact is just the opposite. It is the father who determines the sex of the offspring at the time of fertilization. You will learn about it in your higher classes. The multicellular organisms differ in their pattern of growth and development. In animals like cow, dog, horse and man, etc., the newly born offspring is similar to the parent, but in lower multicellular organisms like bees, mosquitoes, flies, etc., the development involves the different stages. The hatching of egg is followed by formation of larva and pupa, which develop into an adult insect. A larva is a worm-like stage development soon after the hatching of an egg, while the pupa is more of an encased form of developmental stage after larva. It is the pupa that develops into an adult. Mosquitoes, flies, butterflies and most other insects undergo the same stages of development from an egg to an adult. In this image, you can see a development in mosquito. Methods of birth control. Birth को कैसे कंट्रोल किया जाए, किस किस मेथड से कंट्रोल किया जा सकता है. In last 5 or 6 decades, the human population has increased at a tremendous rate. The population explosion has created many serious problems with limited resources available on the earth, such as space, water, air, etc. That is why it is of utmost importance to adopt methods so as to check the population explosion in the welfare of family, society, and the nation at large. The scientists working in this field have worked out several methods to prevent childbirth. The means to prevent childbirth can be physical, chemical, of an individual. In India, many family welfare centers have been set it to help people gain information about the various birth control methods available and the advantages of small family. Although many methods are known for family planning, still objectives have not been achieved yet. The reasons may be summed up as follows. बहुत सारे मेथड्स यूज करने के बाद भी इंडिया में पॉपुलेशन पे कंट्रोल नहीं है और उसके कुछ रीजन ये हो सकते हैं. लेट्स स्टार्ट विद द फर्स्ट. इग्नोरेंस एंड लैक ऑफ एजुकेशन. एजुकेशन का कम होना और चीजों पर ध्यान ना देना. The uneducated masses are ignorant about the ill effects of the increasing population. Therefore, all the efforts made in this direction by the central or state government go fruitless. Uneducated people are not ready to accept the good aspects of family planning and welfare. पुराने traditional beliefs की वजह से. Traditional beliefs. The orthodox people still consider the birth of a child as a God's gift, hence they have no faith in using any birth control methods. They make no effort to use the methods available to prevent pregnancy. Mortality rate. In our country, death rate is high among the poor, so the parents who have many children believe that even if few offspring die, they may still have some. Among the rich, the mortality rate is low due to advancement in medical science. This low mortality rate also adds to the growth rate. Economic reasons. In rural community, children are considered as the helping hand at farms or in field. Therefore, the people of the rural community wish to have more children to assist them in work. It is high time for people to accept and realize the disadvantages of population explosion. There is a lack of residential space and pollution of different types like air and water pollution is on the rise, causing diseases of different types. Asexual reproduction. Asexual reproduction involves one parent. Most unicellular organisms, one-celled, and a few multicellular organisms use asexual reproduction to produce. In this image, you can see an amoeba takes about an hour to divide. तो इस इमेज में हम देख सकते हैं कि कैसे एक अमीबा बर्थ दे रहा है दो अलग अलग सेल्स को, विच इज एन asexual reproduction. फर्स्ट पेरेंट सेल होगा, फिर न्यूक्लियस डिवाइड होगा, उसके बाद साइटोप्लाज्म डिवाइड होगा एंड देन टू डॉटर सेल्स का formation होगा. In asexual reproduction, an organism produces one or more new organisms that are identical to itself and live independently. The organism that produces the new organism is the parent. The new organism are the offspring. Types of cell division in unicellular organisms. जो सिंगल सेल ऑर्गेनिजम्स होते हैं यानी कि जिनके अंदर सिर्फ एक सेल होती है, उनके अंदर किस तरह से सेल का डिवीजन होता है. बाइनरी फिजन से. First, binary fission. This happens when the parent organism splits into two, producing two completely independent daughter cells. The daughter cells are exactly like the parent cell. Example of organisms that reproduce by binary fission are algae, some yeast, paramecium, etc. Budding. Both unicellular and multicellular organisms can reproduce by budding. Budding is a process in which an organism develops tiny bud on its body. Each bud is formed from the parent cells, so the bud's genetic material is the same as that of parent cells. The bud grows until it forms a complete new organism that is genetically identical to the parent. Example of organisms that reproduce by budding are yeast and hydra. तो इस इमेज में हम देख सकते हैं कि कैसे हाइड्रा से एक नई सेल बन रही है. पेरेंट हाइड्रा, डेवलपमेंट ऑफ बर्ड, देन न्यू बर्ड एंड देन न्यू हाइड्रा का फॉर्मेशन होता है. Regeneration. This is a process of new tissue growth. In some organism, regeneration provides asexual reproduction. Example, if a starfish is cut into two halves, each half can regenerate its missing body part. and there will be two identical starfish. In this image, we can see the regeneration of starfish. Vegetative propagation. Many plants develop underground food storage organs which develop into following year's plant. Examples are bulbs, tubers, example potatoes and rhizome. In this image, we can see strawberry plant have runners which grow and attach to the soil and become a new plant. Plantlets. These can take the form of runners, examples strawberries or side branches. Busy Lizzie. Spore formation. Spores released from the parent germinate and produce new individuals. There are many types of spores. Protective wall usually surrounds a spore. Fungi, algae and protozoa produce spores. In this image, we can see fungi, asexual reproduction and health. You have probably had the following experience. In the morning, you feel fine. By afternoon, you don't feel quite right. You don't quite feel right, but keep on going. But after dinner in the evening, it hits you. You are sick. You have a sore throat. How did you get sick so fast? You could have picked up bacteria in school in the morning when another person coughed, spreading the bacteria that causes sore throat. The bacterium is an organism that reproduces asexually through binary fission. Increases in number geometrically, 2 cells become 4, which then become 8 and 16 and so on. The reasons you get sick so fast is that many bacteria can reproduce in less than 30 minutes. So, asexual reproduction से होने वाली सबसे बड़ी प्रॉब्लम है कि हम किस तरह के से इजीली किसी बैक्टीरिया से सिक हो जाते हैं, क्योंकि बैक्टीरिया एसेक्सुअल रिप्रोडक्शन करते हैं तो वो 30 मिनट्स के अंदर ही डबल से भी ट्रिपल से भी और ज्यादा हो जाते हैं आपस में एसेक्सुअल रिप्रोडक्शन कर और फिर वो हमें सिक कर देते हैं. ग्रोइंग अप. Growth begins from the day one is born. But upon crossing the age of 10 or 11, there is a sudden spurt in growth which becomes noticeable. The change taking place in the body is part of growing up. That indicate that you are no longer a child but are on the way of becoming an adult. Growing up is the process, the period of life when the body undergoes changes leading to the reproductive maturity is called adolescence. Adolescence begins around the age of 11 and lasts up to 10 or 19 years of age. Since this period covers the teens, 13 to 18 or 19 years of age, adolescents are also called teenagers. In girls, adolescence may begin a year or two early. Adolescence varies from person to person. Pubertal changes in humans. Puberty is the onset of sexual maturity in an individual at an age of 11 to 15 years. It varies from individual to individual as well as between the sexes. The females are considered to enter into the stage of puberty earlier than males. In females, the changes occurring at puberty include the development of breast, enlargement of reproductive organs like vagina and uterus, appearance of hair in the pubic region, development of sexual consciousness, start of menstrual cycle for the production of ovum, female sex cell gamete. The hips acquire a rounded shape. Psychological and emotional changes. In this image, you can see a pubertal changes in humans. In males, the changes occurring at puberty include the growth of hair in the pubic region and growth of beard and mustache, deepening of voice, development of strong body muscles, the beginning of sperm, male sex cell formation in testes. The changes that occur in a boy or a girl at the stage of puberty are controlled by hormones secreted by gonads, that is, ovaries or testes. In males, the sex hormones found is testosterone, and in female, 2 sex hormones are found. They are estrogen and progesterone. Increases in height. The most conscious change during puberty is the sudden increase in height. At this time, the long bones, that is, the bones of the arms and the legs elongate and make a person tall. Initially, girls grow faster than boys, but by about 18 years of age, both reach their maximum height. The rate of growth in height varies in different individuals. Some may grow suddenly at puberty and then the growth slows down, while others may grow at a gradual pace. Change in body shape. In boys, the muscles of the body grow more prominently than in the girls. Thus, change occurring in adolescent boys and girls are different. Voice change. At puberty, the voice box or the larynx begins to grow. Boys develop larger voice boxes. The growing voice box in boys can be seen as a protruding part of the throat called Adam's apple. In girls, the larynx is hardly visible from the outside because of its small size. Generally, girls have a high-pitched voice, whereas boys have a deep voice. In adolescent boys, sometimes the muscles of the growing voice becomes hoarse. The state may remain for a few days or weeks, after which the voice becomes normal. Chemical coordination. All the changes that an individual experiences during its growth and development are regulated by chemicals. The chemicals that bring about coordination are called hormones. They are produced and secreted by the endocrine glands. The endocrine glands are the ductless glands. They do not have a duct and they pour their secretions straight into the blood, and each hormone released in small quantity in blood acts on its specific target organ to bring about the desired change. The nervous coordination takes place with the complex network of neurons and nerves in the body. Human body has 6 endocrine glands. These glands secrete various hormones in small quantities. The hormones act in minute quantities. Their action is not an immediate action. It is time-taking, but their effect is long-lasting. The pituitary gland is considered as the master gland because it produces and secretes a number of hormones which directly influence the working of the other endocrine glands. For example, a hormone TTH. TTH, thyrotropic hormone, secreted by pituitary gland, regulates the functioning of the thyroid gland. The thyroid gland will not secrete its hormone thyroxine unless it is stimulated by the presence of TTH. The amount of the toxin secreted would also depend on the amount of TTH received. Similarly, the adrenal gland secretes its hormone adrenaline only after being stimulated by ACTH, adrenocorticotropic hormone, secreted by the pituitary gland. Adrenaline is called the emergency hormone. It prepares the body to face stress, anxiety, and any frightening situation by increasing the blood circulation, dilating blood vessels, increasing the breathing rate, etc. The different hormones along with their functions are listed briefly in the table given below. यहाँ पर इस टेबल में endocrine glands और उनके hormones दिए हुए हैं. Let's see. Endocrine gland, pituitary hormone. Thyrotropic hormone TTH stimulates thyroid gland to secrete thyroxine. Adrenocorticotropic ACTH stimulates adrenal to secrete adrenaline. Growth hormone GH regulates body growth. Follicle stimulating hormone FSH regulates development of sperm in males and ovum in females. Antidiuretic hormone ADH regulates amount of water in body. Thyroid gland thyroxine regulates cellular respiration, metabolism. Pancreas, insulin glucagon, maintenance of blood sugar level. Adrenaline, hormones of stress, anger, anxiety or any state of emergency. Gonads, testes, testosterone, ovaries, estrogen, progesterone. Development of sexual characteristic in males and development of sperms. Development of sexual characteristic in females and development of ovum. Pancreas. Pancreas is a special endocrine gland because of its dual role. It is called a heterocrine gland because it secretes digestive enzymes like trypsin, lipase, etc. It secretes the hormones insulin and glucagon. The hormones insulin and glucagon help maintain the blood sugar level. When the blood sugar level is high, the excess of sugar is converted into glycogen under the influence of insulin in liver. Once the sugar level falls, the glucagon converts the stored glycogen back into the blood sugar. Hence, people whose pancreas fails to secrete required insulin suffer from diabetes mellitus. It is a disorder characterized by the high blood sugar level as well as the appearance of glucose in urine. Glucose is not present in urine of a normal person. Its presence in urine can easily be detected using blue color Benedict solution. The different sex hormones secreted by the endocrine glands and gonads are responsible for the various changes that occur during the reproductive life. In males, the testosterone regulates all the changes that occur during the puberty along with the sperm development in testes. In females, the hormones such as follicle stimulating hormone, FSH, estrogen and progesterone are responsible for the changes which occur during menstrual cycle. The first menstrual cycle that marks the beginning of puberty is called menarche, and the last at the age of about 45 years or so is called menopause. A woman can give birth only from the time of menarche to menopause. X and Y chromosomes. Inside the fertilized egg or zygote is the instruction for determining the sex of the baby. This instruction is present in the thread-like structures called chromosomes in the fertilized egg. Chromosomes are present inside the nucleus of every cell. All human beings have 23 pairs of chromosomes in the nuclei of their cells. 2 chromosomes out of these are the sex chromosomes named X and Y. A female has 2 X chromosomes while a male has 1 X and 1 Y chromosome. The gametes, egg and sperm have only one set of chromosomes. The unfertilized egg always has 1 X chromosome. But sperms are of 2 kinds. One kind has X chromosomes and other kind has Y chromosomes. In this picture, it can be easily depicted that how X chromosome and Y chromosome influence the sex of the baby. Men, Y sperm, female, X egg makes male baby. Father, X sperm and female, X egg makes female baby. See the above figure. When a sperm containing X chromosome fertilizes the egg, the zygote would have 2 X chromosomes and thus develops into a female child. If the sperm contributes to a Y chromosome to the egg ovum at fertilization, the zygote would develop into a male child. It is clear that the sex chromosomes of the father determines the sex of unborn baby. The belief that the mother is responsible for the sex of her baby is completely wrong. Knowledge basket. The period between fertilization and birth is about 280 days or a 9-month and is called pregnancy. Nutritional need of the adolescents. The physical and mental well-being of an individual is regarded as an individual's health. To keep the body healthy, every human being at any age needs to have a balanced diet. The persons must also observe a personal hygiene and undertake adequate physical exercise. Adolescence is a stage of rapid growth and development. Hence, the diet for an adolescent has to be carefully planned. Balanced diet means that the meals include proteins, carbohydrates, fats, and vitamins in required proportions. Our Indian meal of roti, rice, dal, and vegetables is a balanced meal. Milk is a balanced food in itself. Fruits also provide nourishment. For infants, mother's milk provides all the nourishment that they need. Iron builds blood, and iron-rich foods such as leafy vegetable, jaggery, meat, citrus, Indian gooseberry, amla are good for adolescents.